Greetings, Bat Family, and welcome back to Holy BatCast, brought to you by Real Fans for Real Movies. You can visit our website at holybatcast.com, or you can find us all over social media on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube. Just search for Holy BatCast. You'll find us. If you love the show, you want to help support us, you can do that on Patreon. You can go to patreon.com/holybatcast. As always, no pressure. Do what you think is right. I believe in you. You don't have to do it. I'll never know the difference. But if you want to do it, the option is there. And because I try to take a no pressure approach, it means that much more from all of y'all have done it. You guys are amazing. I love it. Couldn't do the show without you. You make it so much easier to keep the show rolling. And so for our patrons who've done it just out of the kindness of their hearts, you guys rock. Thank you, thank you, thank you. You're awesome. We are part of the Real Fans Podcast Network. You can check out all our shows at rf4rm.com. And as always, I am your bat host, Andy DiGenova. You can find me on Twitter, Instagram, or Letterboxd. It's just my name, Andy DiGenova. This episode, we are going to talk The Flash and some Batman and a Supergirl and maybe a General. There's a lot to talk about. It's exciting. We have a big new DC trailer, and I feel like it's been a minute since we had one of those. And this one is like, I don't know, not to give it away, it's like really exciting. So, yes, we're going to talk about the trailer for The Flash. Probably talk about the poster in there and then the Super Bowl spot. But man, marketing for The Flash, it went from 0 to like 500 in a couple of days. So it was speedy, like The Flash. Anyway, we're going to talk about all that fun stuff, and I'm excited about it. And so joining me, I have two special guests. You've heard them recently on this show. You've heard them on their show. But they're back because, unfortunately, my two regular Bat Bros were unavailable. Yep, they had other responsibilities, which I understand, and I respect, and I love them. But I brought in some all-stars to fill in for them. So from The Fire Rises, it is Eric and Joe. So first, let me say hi to Eric. Hey, Eric Carter.
Well, hello, Andy. This is becoming a trend here. Thank you for inviting us again.
I mean, I'm really glad that like we've so reconnected because you guys have it's been nice to have you a lot.
Yeah, and I'm really excited to be on for this one because I think we're all pretty pumped for what we're going to talk about. And I'll just say this: you don't get stuff like this in the Stanley Cup Finals.
I believe you. I think that's true. Obviously that was meant for our other guest, your co-host, the yin to your yang, your Brendan Lowe. It's Joe Fornarotto. Hi, Joe.
Hello. And listen, you can make fun of the Stanley Cup Finals all you want, but nobody even cares enough to be offended by it. We all understand it. We get it. We're not trying to defend ourselves, the few hockey fans that exist. But Andy, thank you for having me on. You do not care about Eric making fun of me for being a hockey fan in the least, and most people don't. So, but no, this has been fun filling in again. I'm sorry, Brendan and Jamie couldn't make it, but it allows us to kind of scratch that news itch that, sometimes we don't cover on our show. I mean, it's been really fun to just talk with you about this stuff with, this trailer. And even before recording, it's been fun just discussing this stuff. This is, it's been a minute since we got a big trailer that feels this big, but yesterday we just got a Shazam trailer though. Like it's just crazy how big this one has become so quickly.
This is very true, which we will get into. But yeah, I'm glad that you guys could fill in. As far as your little sports rivalry, I support you both. I love you both. I'm the mom who just wants everyone to have fun. That's all that matters to me. So, and yes, it is nice that we were able to do this. And I certainly wouldn't want to impede anything that you were planning for The Fire Rises. But like you said, you guys tend to not do news. And so glad to always have you. The bench is always here available for you. So we are going to talk lots of Flash and lots of good stuff. But before we get to that, we've got to give a shout out to our friends over at Manscaped who are nice enough to sponsor Holy BatCast. Thank you, Manscaped. You guys are great. So Manscaped wants to tell you about their new beard products. That's right. They're revolutionizing men's grooming with their brand new Beard Hedger. From a beard trim to a fresh shave, the technology behind the Beard Hedger allows you to shape your signature beard look. Now you can finally use Manscaped products to make your drapes match your carpet by going to manscaped.com and using that promo code BATSCAPED for 20% off and free shipping. That promo code again, BATSCAPED. So they have a whole new line of beard products. I told you I don't really use them. Do you know why? Because I can't really grow a full-on beard. Just, you know what? It comes with the curse of the baby face. And what are you going to do? It's fine. All their other products I use religiously. Been using the cologne a lot recently, and it's nice. It's mild. But it's like a nice, fresh, clean scent. I love it. I think, Eric, you were going to order the beard trimmer, weren't you?
Yes. And
but you have not yet? Or
I have not yet. Honestly, I forgot about it and everything going on recently.
Is it in your cart?
It is in my cart. I just got to go order it.
It's going to be one of those things where I start emailing you being like, why did you leave it in your cart?
Yeah, exactly. But I will report back once I get it.
Please do. Please do. So yeah, they have the Beard Hedger. And oh man, it's we've got all kinds of good stuff in here. It's cordless trimmer, has a rotary wheel, gives you 20 hair cutting lengths with one guard. So one guard made for any length. So anyway, if it's anything like the lawnmower, which I swear by, I'm sure it's great. But the lawnmower 4.0, if you're looking for just an all-around, all-purpose trimmer, maybe not just for your beard, you can't go wrong with the lawnmower. So go to manscaped.com. If you got a beard, if you're one of those beardy gentlemen, good for you. But you got to keep it cleaned up. Got to keep yourself all groomed. Check out what they got and use that promo code BATSCAPED. Get your discount, 20% off. Get your free shipping. Get your product. And then you're supporting Holy BatCast while you do it. So it would mean a lot to me if you did that, especially if you're in the market anyway. Guess what? You got to shower. You got to shave. You got to do these things anyway. You might as well do it with good stuff. You might as well treat yourself nice. You deserve it. So manscaped.com, promo code is BATSCAPED. So now let's get down to business. To defeat the Huns. No, that's all right. It was worth it.
Yeah, I'm not sure on that one.
That's okay. There's a little crossover with Disorder, and for those people, they just had a great time.
Okay, gotcha.
Not you guys. You guys can go fuck yourselves. But the people who listen to Disorder, they're going to be happy. They're going to think it's great. Anyway, we're going to talk about The Flash. It's time. The marketing machine is in full swing. Like, oh my God. Over the past, I don't want to say 24 hours because it started with the poster on Friday, but over the past few days, it went from like nothing to everything, and it's awesome. So let's do it. Let's take a look at the first official trailer for The Flash.
Tell me something. You can go anywhere. Another timeline. Another universe. So why do you want to stay and fight to save this one? Because this is the world where my mom lives. I'm not going to lose her again.
We should start with the poster. The poster came first. The poster came Friday. Obviously, Super Bowl was on Sunday, so 2 days ahead. But it was a nice way to kick off the weekend, get a little something, something. And then we just got more posters because, yeah, I mean, like I was saying, they just went all in on promoting this movie this week because we went from like the teaser poster to the trailer to the Super Bowl spot to merchandise to 3 character posters to now sneak peeks of the toys, like all within a couple of days. So if you're psyched for this movie, like I am, it's a good time to be a fan because we're just getting all kinds of good stuff. So on Friday, we got the poster, the teaser poster of the Flash himself standing in the Batcave with the silhouette of the Batwing hovering over him. And it said Worlds Collide, June 16th. So what'd you think of the teaser poster, Eric?
Oh, in a world where we get the floating head posters all the time, I just thought this was nice. It's artistic. You know, it's just more dynamic than what we have been getting recently, which makes me happy because that's a plus for DC. Mm-hmm. And just seeing the Batcave. I mean, obviously I'm thrilled that we're getting a Flash movie, but I could not be more thrilled that there's so much Batman seemingly in this movie. And to get that Worlds Collide and we see the Batwing and Flash, the suit looks really, really good.
Yeah, so, I agree.
Yeah, I mean it's a badass poster.
Joe?
Yeah, I agree. It's funny that he mentioned the floating heads posters because I feel like putting some artistry to these posters should be a cheap form of good marketing. Like, why shouldn't they put some more thought into these posters? And I'm glad that DC has done that for the most part. A lot of the posters for DC have some really cool style to them, and this one is just that with the with the cool silhouette of the Batwing on top. Just to they didn't just put Flash next to Batman's silhouette, or they could have done something very simple with a floating Bat logo somewhere. But I love the silhouette on top of the Batwing and the way it's in the Batcave, and Flash kind of turned to the side, but you get to see the streaks on the suit and everything, and the cool colors, like the dynamic from the red on the Flash to the darkness of the Batcave. I just think it's a cool looking poster, and I love the logo. I love the simplicity of the Flash logo,
Mm-hmm.
and the tagline that we've been greeted with, "Worlds Collide." Everything with the marketing so far has been really intriguing with what they're pushing for.
Yeah. And I mean, and they're putting it right out there of like what this movie truly is and what we can expect from it. I'm glad you made the point, is I do feel like something that DC and WB have done very well, especially with the DC properties, is have posters that are not the traditional Photoshop bashes, floating heads. They do usually do something a little more intriguing, a little more artistic. And this is a great example of it. I thought it was a wonderful poster. It tells you everything that you need to know. It keeps the Flash himself front and center. And I'm going to keep making that point for the people who are complaining that, oh, it's a Flash movie and there's not enough Flash. That's not true. So you got the Flash front and center, but the Flash is going to be hopping universes and teaming up with Batman. So of course you want people to know that too. And so to have him in the Batcave with that silhouette of the Batwing, I thought was a great way to check both those boxes. It's a Flash movie. There he is, standing right there in the center, but he is in the Batcave, and now I want to see that happen. So I love it. And again, we got character posters today. I think that the first poster is still the best one. I think it's beautiful.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree. The character posters do look cool.
Oh, I like them too. Don't get me wrong. I think I like the more artistic one than the character faces, but the character ones are really good. But well, I don't want to say ironically, but you'd think my favorite of the character posters would be Batman, but it's not. It's the Flash. I think the Flash one is the best looking of the character posters.
I actually think Batman might be my third favorite.
Yeah, I think you're right, which is crazy, but I think so.
I have something to say about that, but I think I'll wait until we're actually into the trailer.
Okay, that's fine. But yeah, I think the original poster was amazing on Friday, and then the character posters are very cool. But yeah, I think even the Flash one is my favorite of that. And to your point, now that we're getting a lot more looks at that suit, I think he looks great. So I'm super excited. So when that poster came out Friday, I was like, oh, I'm in. I love it. I would frame it. I'd put it on my wall. I don't know what I would take down to make room for it. That's the problem, but I would put it up. I'm looking around right now. I don't know. Tough call. But we knew this was coming on Sunday. And so then they released the full trailer at 6 p.m. Eastern. And then the Super Bowl spot was what, like an hour later, something like that? I lost all track of time yesterday once this trailer hit because we were just too busy geeking out about it. And I don't know what time the Super Bowl spot actually came out. But
it was well over an hour.
Oh, really?
The trailer had premiered. Yeah, because I didn't even know it was out until you guys said it in the group chat. Because I thought, because how it normally works is the trailer, the little TV spot comes on and it says full trailer online now. And that's when they drop it. But this was not the case this year because there were several trailers that came out well before their TV spot aired.
Yeah. Which, I don't know, is kind of smart because, like, when did the game start? At 7?
6 our time, Andy. So, well,
okay,
no, the game doesn't start technically till like 6:30, 6:50.
Okay, because it was like there was this intentional choice to premiere the trailer before the game started to already get the hype building while people were waiting for the game to start. That's what it felt like to me. Of like, oh, before everybody starts watching the actual Super Bowl, let's get this out there and build that buzz already.
Mm-hmm. And I will say it was one of the few properties that actually premiered their trailer on Super Bowl Sunday. Like Indiana Jones was just a TV spot. They did not release a new trailer.
Yeah.
Fast 10, their trailer came out on I think Friday.
I think it was Friday too, yeah.
And
Scream
was Thursday, I think, right?
Yeah, so this was one of the very few that took advantage of actually releasing on Super Bowl Sunday.
I think it was a very deliberate choice, and I don't know if we want to get into this now, but like selling this movie is a challenge.
Mm-hmm.
It comes with a lot of baggage. And WB knows this, I'm sure, and they're like, how do we make the biggest splash we can to start promoting this movie that we spent a lot of money on that's coming out in June? And so they're like, we go all in on the Super Bowl Sunday. That's what we do. And they put all their eggs in the Super Bowl weekend basket. And not to get ahead of ourselves, I think it paid off because it feels like it has captured the zeitgeist and it's all people are talking about it. Good, bad, and indifferent.
I completely agree with that. And I don't know if it still is. I think it was the most viewed of the Super Bowl trailers.
Okay.
On YouTube. Is that right, Joe? Weren't you saying something about that earlier?
It was the highest trending trailer. I don't know how that works as far as trending with Twitter or YouTube or whatever, but I think the biggest thing they did was, like you were saying, Andy, this is like a hard movie to market. I think they found a way to do it for everyone watching the Super Bowl that is completely general audience.
Yeah.
They don't know any of the crap that's going on behind the scenes.
Yeah.
All they see is an awesome Flash trailer with 2 Batman in it.
Yep.
That's it. That's all they need to see, and they're in.
This is very true, because you're right. But I mean, I don't know if I want to do it now. I don't want to talk about it now because but I started it. It was my own fault. But yes, like this is their big summer movie for June. There's a lot of money invested in it. There's a lot they need to get out of it. And up until now, it's just been mired in drama. And we all know that, and we can acknowledge that. And so it's like they need to change the narrative, and the clock is ticking. And so going all in this weekend made a lot of sense. And again, I think mission accomplished.
Yeah, do you think
I agree with that.
Do you think the way that this has gone in the past 24 hours kind of proves that proves the point that most of us always try to make, is that we are so out of touch with the general audience, it's not even funny? Because I feel like the general audience has really just kind of accepted the fact that, like, or almost proven the point to us that, like, they don't know about the drama. They're just talking about the trailer. For
the most part, that's true. I mean, I think there's still a little bit of it, but the important thing is that the conversation has changed.
Yeah.
And that was the goal for the weekend. And that is what I think they did, is now the conversation is about the movie. And up until now, it's been about everything except the movie. And so that, I think, is a huge success. And WB, or just Warner Brothers Discovery, etc., can pat themselves on the back for that.
Well, and to be clear, I know what everybody's thinking when we talk about, this not being about the movie. It's not just the one main thing. I mean,
it's a bunch of things.
Yeah, there's the reboot going on.
I was actually more referring to the reboot than the other thing, Eric. And there is a bunch of stuff.
The movie has a ton of baggage. The baggage is this universe dying? Is the reboot coming? Ezra Miller's mental health and legal troubles. All of those things, and not to mention the fandom that thinks that this is somehow disrespectful to Zack Snyder. Like there's a lot of baggage and a lot of warring factions of, like, here's why we don't want to like this movie. Here's why we don't want to support this movie. Whether that be because of Ezra, whether that be because of the reboot, whether that because of loyalty to Snyder, whatever those reasons are, there are a whole bunch of people who were like not rooting for this movie. They were actively rooting against this movie. And now we actually get a glimpse of what the movie is. And the problem that Warner Brothers has is they've got a movie that, by all accounts, is great. everybody who's seen it says it's great. Apparently, the test screenings were like scored off the charts. James Gunn has literally said it's one of the best superhero movies I've ever watched. He retweeted the trailer saying, "I love this movie so much. I can't wait for you guys to see it." By all accounts, Andy Muschietti knocked it out of the park. And so they're sitting on this movie that they know is good, and they've got to try to sell it amidst all this drama. And that is hard. But again, I think they pulled it off as well as anyone could have expected. You're not going to win over 100% of the people. You're just not. But they won over a hell of a lot of people. And most importantly, they got the general audience talking about it. And they might have heard something about Ezra Miller. But also, the general audience is kind of like, who's Ezra Miller? Like, he's not that big of a star.
Yeah.
So, like, they might have heard something. But at the end of the day, they see this trailer and they're like, oh, crap, I got to go see that. And coming out of this weekend, the fact that so many people are talking about it and the vast majority of them are saying, I need to see this. And even the ones who were rooting against it, not all, again, not all, but many of them, even they are begrudgingly being like, oh, no, I think I need to see it. And that's a hell of a victory.
That was my favorite part of yesterday, seeing people that were like, oh, I actually like this trailer. I'm like, yes.
Because I mean, I can't speak for everyone. Of course I can't. But there are people in my circle who have been actively rooting against this movie since it was announced. Mm-hmm. And like, wouldn't give it an inch, cancel the movie, blah, blah, blah. And then the trailer came out and now all of a sudden they're kind of looking forward to it. And I'm not talking about one person. So if you're one person listening going, he's talking about me. No, I'm talking about multiple people that I know who like changed their tune yesterday.
But that's the job of a trailer though, right?
Yeah.
I mean, if you have a great trailer, it can change things like this. So
and they went all in on a full trailer. This is not like a quick teaser. Like they did it all.
Yes. So I didn't mean to get to the drama first, but I mean, that does still set up the landscape that they were working in as we're going into this weekend where this movie has a lot working against it. And now they need to get us interested and invested and excited about the movie. And they did it. And I say hurrah and congratulations because good for them. Are there still people who are finding reasons to hate on it? Of course there are. But from what I have seen, and frankly, I've looked a lot because I'm so excited, I'd say about 10% negative, which is still pretty darn good. And it's not like I know every person on the planet, but like it is overwhelmingly positive, which again is great because this movie went from just a week ago and for the past 6 to 12 months of, oh, will they even release it? Will they cancel it? Should they fire Ezra Miller? Why even bother with The Flash? That was all the conversation around this movie. Now, Monday morning, this movie is now a must-see event this June.
Yep. And let's face it, half of that crowd, that 10% that you're talking about, half or more of them were going to be that way regardless.
Exactly. Yes. Like they'd made up their minds already for whatever reason. And I can't say all, again, I don't want to be unfair and say every single person who dislikes it has their own agenda. Yeah, there are a handful who probably just genuinely dislike it, but I think a lot of them have an agenda, and there was nothing this trailer was going to do that was going to win them over.
Right.
I'll even go a step further and say more than half of those 10% are probably going to see the movie anyway. So
yeah. Oh, yeah.
WB's getting their money from them.
Yeah. Anyway, obviously, I'm not hiding. I love the trailer. I love it. But let's talk about it. So just first overall thoughts of the trailer, Eric.
Wow. I was kind of staggered by what we saw. And then, just digging into it afterwards and picking out little details that I missed because my jaw was on the floor when we first watched it. Man, there is so much that they packed into 3 minutes?
Yeah, not even, just shy. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, first of all, it kind of gives you the story. It kind of gives you the story beats I think everybody knew we were headed towards for the movie. Mm-hmm. So once you get that out of the way, you can be like, okay, let's focus on the details. And yeah, I mean, from seeing, because Ben Affleck is my favorite Batman of all time. So seeing him, is always going to make me happy. Seeing Michael Keaton's return. and seeing just some of the action they packed in this trailer. Because I mean, this is a thrill ride throughout this trailer. This is like a awesome little mini movie in itself. So yeah, I'm blown away by it. It was definitely by far my favorite trailer for the Super Bowl, and it didn't have to work too hard to do that because I do have a little bit of a bias.
A little bit.
Is what it is.
A little bit. I mean, I love your Fast and Furious podcast, Eric. It's pretty good too, but
well, you know. Well, the thing is that those movies are fun. I'm really actually looking forward to Guardians 3. A lot of those trailers look good, but none of them look this good, in my opinion. So, yeah, that's where I'm at with it.
Joe?
Yeah, it's weird because I expected to love this trailer. So when I jokingly said to you, like, the needle didn't really move for me, that's not even a negative. I was already so excited for this trailer that I knew I was going to love it. But it was just an amazing trailer, and I was so happy to see it. Pretty much, like you said, there are the people that are gonna, hate on it no matter what. But almost unanimously, the people were pretty positive with this. And to me, what I care about is I care a lot less about those people that were going to hate it no matter what. I care about the general reaction from the general audience, because that's what makes or breaks these movies. And I was so happy to see that this trailer really worked for those people, because look, we could get into the whole, oh, are you going to have any Flash in your Flash movie instead of the Batman? But I'm sorry, I do think this is a Flash movie.
And agreed. And also, this trailer is like mostly Flash. Yeah. I mean, of course, we get nods to Batman and Supergirl and Zod, etc. But like, the whole story of this trailer is around Barry, what he's doing, why he's doing it, what are the challenges, how did he screw up, how is he going to fix it? That's what the trailer is about. It is Barry's story in this multiverse, hopping grand DC adventure. So I'm over the whole, oh, why don't we just call it Batman? Because it's Barry's story. And also, we've known for 2 years now that it's a Flashpoint movie. Like, let's not pretend we're surprised with our hot takes of like, oh, it's just a Batman movie. No, we know what it was.
And also, I mean, why wouldn't they market it with Michael Keaton as Batman? Like,
of course.
Do that. And
yes.
Not for nothing. Again, I love a lot of Marvel stuff. I don't want to see people complaining about this, but are completely fine with Spider-Man Homecoming using Iron Man to market that. That's Spider-Man. I mean, if you have to use Iron Man to market for Spider-Man, who can blame WB for marketing Batman for the Flash? You know what I mean? So, again, you're just trying to sell the movie here. And I think they did it. And I loved everything about I was surprised at how much of the story we got in the trailer. That's my biggest takeaway from it as far as what surprised me. But I really, I was going to love this trailer no matter what. But they really did, in my opinion. I mean, we're just going to gush over this for the next the next hour or so. And it's I think they knocked it out of the park.
Yeah. No, I completely agree. I think that this was a hell of a trailer, and again, achieved everything it needed to do. It told you what the movie's about. It introduced the players. It introduced all the players that we already knew were a part of this. And so, especially us who follow this, and we already knew that Affleck and Keaton were going to be in it. We already knew Supergirl was going to be in it. So they're not showing us anything we didn't know already. And so, but for the general audience, they might not have known all of that. So that's a big aha, wow for them. And yet I still think they're very smartly keeping some of the mystery and keeping some of the surprises. They're showing us the stuff we know about, Ian, and all of that stuff is really cool, but that's all they're showing us right now, which is great. Are they going to be able to keep that up till June? Good luck. I hope so. But, and to your point in selling the movie, Ezra Miller ain't going to put butts in seats. The Flash as a character might put some in, but the return of Affleck as Batman in what is assumed to be his final turn, Keaton returning, like all of a sudden, guess what? Like you're going to get a lot more people interested. And then Supergirl on top of that. Like there's so much else. And again, like the complaints of, oh, the first Flash movie shouldn't be this. I even agree with that. Like, I wouldn't have done this first. And yet when all this started taking shape, like in my brain, I'm like, it's a DC Universe movie starring the Flash. And as a huge DC fan, I can't be mad at that. Like, and this trailer and hopefully the movie really seems to deliver on that. It's Barry's story, it's Barry's adventure, but there is so much in far as you're right, setting up the premise of Flashpoint for everybody of what Barry is thinking of doing and eventually does, and then how he ends up breaking the timeline and now he has to fix it. It helps that over the past couple of years, the multiverse has become such a well-known, a well-traveled concept over the past few years in a bunch of other movies. So it's not even that hard for the general audience to wrap their heads around it anymore. But this gives you that info, and then you're like, oh, cool, Ben Affleck is in this. Oh, cool. Oh my God, Michael Keaton is in this. But it never loses its focus on Barry. There are huge wow moments. The effects look amazing. The costumes, the design, all of that is great. And General Zod, y'all, like that one, we had been spoiled. We knew he was going to be in the film. I feel better that they're not hiding it, because I would have been mad that it had been spoiled for me. If they were trying to keep it a secret, but because they're coming right out, that makes me feel a little better. And so this movie and this trailer have so much they need to achieve. And it's crazy that they're doing it. Like they're selling you on Ezra Miller's Flash. They're selling you on the story. They're reminding you of Affleck's Batman. We've got the return of Keaton's Batman, but we also have like going back to the beginning with Man of Steel, which is amazing and so cool. And so like, it's funny because again, there are Snyder fans who don't want to like this movie because they feel that it is somehow a betrayal of Snyder. But as I'm watching the trailer, it feels like a very natural progression and almost a celebration of what started in Man of Steel. Because why would you go back to the beginning if you're trying to not, like if you're trying to undercut that, like, no, it's embracing it. And it kind of makes me happy that like for this movie, which might be I guess it's the end of the universe in a lot of ways, to tie that up and make it this cyclical thing of tying it in with Man of Steel, which is when the universe began. That's really exciting to me too. I love that continuity of going back to the beginning.
Well, and I think it's a fascinating question too that they pose of what would have happened when Zod came if there was no Superman to stop him.
Yeah.
That is so fascinating to me. And also, and Joe knows this. He probably knows what I'm going to say. General Zod, Michael Shannon's General Zod, is probably, since Heath Ledger, my favorite comic book movie villain. I think Michael Shannon just killed it in Man of Steel. He had so much conviction and made you believe his mission or why he believed his mission. And that's to me, that's your best villain, because he absolutely saw himself as the hero of his own story. And his conviction is terrifying. And without a Superman to repel that, I'm pumped to see what Michael Shannon brings to a second crack at this same role. That's really cool to me.
No, I agree. He's amazing. His Zod is just another level, and I love it. And who would have thought we would have gotten more of him? And how cool is it that we are getting more of him?
Yeah, absolutely. And to your point, what you were saying about, would this be the Flash movie I would start with as his first big screen outing? No, probably not. But if it's as good as it seems like it is, and it is this reset button that James Gunn has been calling it, it might be the most fortunate and retroactively brilliant thing that's ever happened to the DC movies.
That's actually what I was thinking, was that like, it's just a fortunate happy accident where, like, what would have happened if this was the movie and we weren't rebooting? Like, how do you, granted, we don't know what would have happened with the ending or whatnot, but this way, like, Andy, you've actually said on the show before that you wanted some type of bookend to the quote-unquote Snyderverse, and it somehow wrap it up in a bow. Well, it was almost like they said, like, we kind of have this sitting right here. We can do that. And that's the hope from me. And I think we're all just kind of taking it as a positive that this is their way of ending the Snyderverse, as opposed to the people that look at it as an insult. I'm like, well, no, we're getting callbacks to the first movie in the Snyderverse. And
and who
me,
knows
that's
what
a
else?
celebration
I mean,
of it.
we're getting callbacks to Justice League.
Yeah.
Because not only the relationship between Barry and Bruce, which I think is great, and just that conversation takes me back to Justice League, and that makes me happy. But we got the Flying Fox returning from Justice League. So again, this is a movie that seems to be going out of its way to pay homage to the Snyderverse. And for me, that feels like a positive. I agree with you. I'm like, that's great, because if this is truly like the end of this universe one way or the other, I love that we're going to have nods to the past and what got us here, and it could actually work really well.
And to the people that think that, like, yeah, you probably shouldn't have started the Flash with Flashpoint, I would counter that with, in the comics, Barry was dead from the 80s to like 2007. His first story back after Rebirth was Flashpoint. So there aren't many modern Flash stories prior to Flashpoint. So I mean, this is a very emotional Barry Allen story.
Yeah.
And to me, it's his new origin in the comics. This was created at Flashpoint. The whole story with I mean, it's spoilers for Flashpoint, but like the whole story with Eobard Thawne going back in time and killing his mother, that wasn't until Rebirth in 2000. What was it? 2005, 2006. The Flash Rebirth. So this is not like, this is like, again, I'm sorry to like stumble here, but like Flash doesn't have a lot of modern stories prior to this. So I think it makes more sense than people give it credit for to start with this. And I just love the emotion of, you know, Barry deciding to go back in time and save his mother. And we get those, you know, shots in the trailer of that. And I don't know. I think as long as Barry is the heart of this film, which it seems like he is, yes, you're using Batman and Supergirl and all these other characters as supporting characters to further Barry's story and Barry's emotion. I think that's the important part. And hey, if this movie is a success, and if we get more Flash movies going further, then you can go a more personal Flash route later on. But for the first one, go big or go home. Like, I think this is one of the most famous Flash stories in the last how many years in the comics. Let's go for it. I'm okay with that. And again, it seems like it's kind of been a happy accident, because even James Gunn said it. We're kind of lucky that the Flash is the one we inherited here, and it's gonna kind of restart this whole thing in a, you know, kind of, we've been keep calling it. It's weird because I keep saying Rebirth for the Flash story, but then there's the Rebirth in the comics as well, and it's kind of like that in the New 52. There's a whole bunch of stuff going on here that I'm actually really excited for, to see how they took what they originally planned and made it work for whatever they got going on now.
Yeah. Well, and it's true. And this is, again, kind of, when I think of it as a DC Universe movie starring the Flash, like that gets me really excited. And then when you think about, okay, this is a Flash movie. It is his story. It is, he's the one who goes back in time to save his mother. I do love how they set that up here. I love the quick little scene between him and Ben's Bruce. That's so great, of Barry going, I can fix things, and Bruce saying, you could also destroy everything. And of course, we know it never goes as planned. But it's a Flash solo movie, right? It's also a fond farewell to Ben Affleck's Batman, which he deserves. And we as his fans, we deserve. And I love that we're getting it. Like, what a gift. Because after Justice League, after Justice League, he could have just been like, F this, which he was so close to doing. And that's where we would have left him. And so to get this, what a gift. I'm so happy for that. We get the return of Keaton's Batman. We get a version of Keaton's Batman 3. That's not exactly what it is, but it's that too. We get a Supergirl origin story. And in the end, we get some semblance of a Justice League movie. All of these things in this Flash movie. So I'll be damned if I'm going to look that gift horse in the mouth.
You know, I didn't even think about that aspect of it. I mean, seeing all these heroes on screen, it will be sort of like a Justice League movie.
Or at least a bare minimum, a Trinity.
Yeah.
Sort of, yeah.
So, it's just, I mean, there's just a lot to be excited about. And again, that's a lot of plates to spin. And so credit to Christina Hodson for writing it, and then Andy Muschietti for making it happen. And again, we don't know how it's all going to come together. We haven't seen the movie yet, but so far so good. And if he pulls this off, if Muschietti pulls this off, and this movie's as good as it looks, like, hats off. Don't let that one get away.
Yeah.
Get him on another DC project.
As much as I've said,
sorry.
As much as I've said I'd like Affleck to do The Brave and the Bold, because I would like him to direct that, man. I mean, if Muschietti pulls this movie off, give him The Brave and the Bold.
Yeah.
Well, you give him his choice at that point. If he pulls
this is
true. He wants.
Well, and here's why Muschietti should have The Brave and the Bold. Because he's not afraid to have a blue and gray Batman.
Oh, that's true.
And so, yeah, that's exciting. You know what's crazy? I saw this last night. Of course, I watched the trailer like 5 times in a row, and I didn't even notice that shot of Batman was blue and gray until someone pointed it out, because it's so quick. And thank God for the people who like slow it down and go frame by frame, because I was just watching the trailer over and over again, and it happened so quick I missed it, and someone pointed it out, and I was like, holy shit, you're right. So we are getting some variation on the blue and gray that many of us fans have been asking for. Not all, but many. Now, I don't need the extra little pads and stuff that he's wearing. Don't know what that's all about. But frankly, if that's what it takes to get a comic book blue and gray, I'm gonna be okay with it, because it looks really great. It's a real quick shot. Thanks to the freeze frames, we can see it. And when that action figure comes out, you better believe that baby's mine.
And we're also getting a Keaton blue and gray batsuit.
Yes, my hunch is he will never wear it, but at least it's there.
But it's there. It's wore there. It at some point.
Which is awesome.
We can all be little kids and use our imagination.
Exactly. But anyway, my point is, if Muschietti is okay to embrace this world and what we're seeing in this trailer, then heck yeah, give him The Brave and the Bold. Yes, please.
Well,
or whatever.
And Joe brought up something about this, I think yesterday, that I was wondering about. So I actually did a little digging. And if you remember, there were those spy pics that leaked of Affleck on the bat, or the stunt double in the Affleck suit on the bat bike and everything like that. That suit in those shots is black and gray.
Yes, that's what I thought. Yeah,
and this was done in post. I truly believe. Now, is it possible they did that as an afterthought, or is it possible they did that because they didn't want people to know and they wanted it to be a surprise?
It's a great question. I wondered the same thing, because I remember those spy pics, and yes, if it was blue, I would have known, which I think is the other reason I didn't think twice on the footage. Like, I just kind of I didn't even think to go, oh, what color is that? So I do wonder why that decision was made. Not, of course, that I'm mad at it, but maybe he listens to the show. Maybe he's like, you know what, Andy, all you guys who have been asking for this one's for you.
This is, and so I thank him. This is a crazy theory, but maybe James Gunn said, I'd really like to see how that looks on screen.
Hey.
Yeah.
Well, this is ultra nerdy, but I remember back in the day with Batman and Robin, they made the suit blue in that, obviously. It's like a dark, dark blue. They said it was really difficult to film the dark blue. So I'm curious if maybe it's easier to do it in post, because the lighting and stuff off of a dark blue suit like that is difficult. I don't know. I just remember them saying that with Clooney's suit, that it was really difficult to film.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So while we're talking about suits, I do want to bring up what I was referring to earlier when we were talking about the character posters.
Yes.
So yes, Keaton's, for a few reasons, was actually my least favorite of the character posters too. And I think it's because I really like this Keaton suit that he's got in this movie. I don't quite love it yet, but I've gone from not being crazy about it at all to kind of liking it. So I'm thinking it's just taking me some time to get there. But I'm still not quite there with the suit all the way. I don't love it. There's something about the big bulky shoulder pads, and there's something, I don't think the cowl is as good as it was in, say, Returns. or even 89.
I agree with that. I actually feel like I like the cowl in Returns better. Now, I don't know if it's, I mean, Keaton isn't a young man anymore. Maybe it just looks different on his face, but I feel like the cowl from Returns fit his face better.
Yeah, it seems like it smushes his face a little bit.
His face almost looks rounder in this cowl, or there's something about the shape of the chin on this cowl looks odd to me. But I think it might just be jarring because it's different. Where like if we saw another actor in this suit, we wouldn't think twice about it. But it's because we're so used to seeing. I mean, we've seen Keaton in the Returns and the '89 cowl for over 30 years now. So seeing him in something different is weird.
Mm-hmm. Now, I will say that once he jumped off of that little balcony and, he put the wings out and started taking out bad guys there, that all kind of goes away because it looks great in action. I think it's just the close-up shots that throw me off a little bit.
Yeah, I will agree with that. I think that it's not quite up to 89 in Returns, but I still really like it because it is still unmistakably that Batman.
Mm-hmm.
I do like that they wrote in that he has a whole safe full of suits, and this is merely the latest. And so I love that there's the nod of you've got the 89 one back there, and you've got the Returns one, you've got the blue and gray, like you said. Yeah. So I like that there is an in-story reason for it to be slightly different. And yeah, like I agree with you. It doesn't look quite as good as the others, but I still think it looks pretty darn good. And you're right. I did not expect that we would get him in action in this trailer, at least not for the first trailer. I didn't know how much they would hold back on him and how much they would tease him. And I love that they put it right out there. I love that they let him say I'm Batman. Mm-hmm. Just do it. Just own it. And then for it to cut to him jumping down with the wings and seeing him in action, that is awesome. Because I remember when this was announced that he was coming back and we were all like, is he going to actually suit up? Or is it just going to be old Bruce Wayne? And it's like, oh no, hell yeah, we're giving you that Batman back. And yes, he's retired and he's coming out of retirement and all that is fine and good. But man, like it's exciting. Though the little very subtle piano version of the 89 theme when he walks up.
Oh, so good.
Is amazing. And then the theme kicking in when he does that swoop down and he takes down those guys. And that's gotta be the freeing Supergirl sequence of when he swoops down. That's them in going into that compound and breaking out Supergirl. I'm sure of it. But like that was the total geek out moment is seeing him was like, oh yeah, they did it. Heck yeah, they did it. And then to then give us that action beat right on top of it. Oh man, like, yeah, forget it. Knocked me over with the feather. It was great.
Well, it's almost jarring to see an older Michael Keaton do more in action now than he could have done in 89 or 92 because of technology.
Oh yeah.
And it was like, whoa, wow. Like it seems almost like a different version of Batman with the way they're handling him because they're letting him go full on. I mean, I guess for lack of a better term, they're going full on comic book action here where they weren't able to do that back then.
Yeah, I know.
It's great. And also with the suit, hey, you know what? Michael Keaton's earned the right to be comfortable in this suit. He probably didn't want something that was like squishing his face like the 89 and Returns suit. So I don't blame him if that is the reason why it looks the way it does. If it looks a little off for him, if it gets him in the suit and he's able to move around in it, good for him.
I mean, totally. I mean, yeah, he was, I think 68 when they made this. Imagine. And so, yeah, let the man be comfortable.
Yep, that's true. That's very true.
And again, I think it looks amazing. I think that the Flash, as we said, also looks amazing. I love the suit. I do still think the helmet is imperfect, but it's still pretty good. So it doesn't quite bother me. Again, the way, especially now that we're seeing more of it and we're seeing it more in context, I think it's really good. And I think the suit itself is great. So I love how the Flash looks. I love how both Batmen, I love how both of them look. I love that Affleck Bat Cycle.
Oh yeah. Cause it's the Sean Murphy from the White Knight series,
yeah.
Bat Cycle, and it looks so good.
And it's the one Batwoman was riding in Catwoman Hunted too.
Oh, yes. Did they have that one? I still haven't seen that movie quite yet.
Yeah, it was Batwoman was doing it, but it was that same exact style.
I still find it weird. A lot of people were thinking that might have been Bale.
I saw that too, and I was like, no, that's definitely not the Batpod.
But
No.
in their but like I guess they were only watching the one trailer where they don't show the front of him; they were only showing the back. But I don't know. I just maybe because again we're so in the know. But I feel like there were a lot of people in the know that were still questioning whether that was Bale or not. And I'm like, I don't know.
Yeah, I did. Someone tweeted me going, "Oh, is that Bale?" And I'm like, "Oh no, definitely not. That's Affleck's."
Well, and with the Flash suit, Andy, I really like 99% of this suit. I love. The only thing I don't love, and you were talking about the helmet, he's got Bruce the Shark jowls on the sides of his mask. And that's the only thing about it I don't like. Otherwise, that suit looks amazing.
Yeah. No, I agree with that. Like, yeah,
I'm
the
certain
helmet's
that
just a
looks
little off, but again, like it's so minor to me that I ain't gonna complain too much.
No, not at all. It still may be the best Flash suit we've gotten in live action.
I would agree with that. Yeah.
And that's no offense to anybody at the CW.
Nope. I've certainly liked the Flash suit on the show, and it took me a little time, but I also really ended up liking the Flash suit on Justice League. So, but I do like the sleeker version here.
Yeah, for sure.
The Batwing. So the Super Bowl spot gives us the reveal of the Batmobile, but we've not seen whether or not they take the Batmobile out for a drive. God, I hope so.
They have to.
They've got to, right?
And everything, right? Like,
right.
I don't think he's going to uncover it if they're not going to take it for a ride.
I hope that's true. But the Batwing also looks amazing. I love it hanging there from the ceiling of the Batcave. I love that they seem to really be using it, and yeah, it's really badass too. We were talking about this offline, but man, like we're starting to get glimpses of the toys, and I haven't gone all in on buying the toys for one of these movies in a while. The last one I think I went all in on was Justice League, ironically enough. And again, I loved Shazam. I loved Aquaman. But I didn't go crazy on those as far as toys go, but this one I might have to, like, cause I'm just really excited, and everybody looks so good, and the Flash and Batman and the other Batman and Supergirl and Zod and the Batwing. Like, oh my God, I'm afraid for my pocketbook when all this stuff starts hitting shelves, because that's how excited I am, and I don't know if I'll be able to resist.
Well, I think we've all already made merchandise purchases for the Flash.
Yeah.
We did. Well, I mean, and thank you. I think, Joe, you're the one who, I didn't know this was they were even up until you sent that screenshot, but on the DC store, they've got shirts and hats and mugs, and yep, today all of us made some purchases, but I'm excited.
I texted Eric, I said, this is going to be a merchandising juggernaut, this film. Like, all you have to do, like, all right, let's say Batman is in a blue suit at one point. We might get the traditional Affleck suit too. There's already 2 toys right there. If he takes off the weird, like, covering on the blue suit, there's another suit right there. That's another toy. They could do all sorts of stuff for, I mean, you're already getting the Batwing, you're getting the Batmobile. I mean, just from a marketing standpoint with Batman in and of itself, the Flash is hard to sell toys for. I mean, I don't want to get involved in like the whole, you make a movie to sell toys, but there's not a lot of accessories involved with the Flash as a character.
With the Flash himself, yeah. I mean, and not to mention, we have at least two
yes,
Flashes.
We didn't get a good shot of the Flash wearing the Batman suit, which I was kind of surprised about, because we got that 2 years ago in the Fandom trailer.
Yeah.
And so it's funny, we were talking about the poster before. I actually would have loved if the Batman, well, I guess it wouldn't have been a Batman poster, but I'm just a stickler for like logos and stuff. I loved that picture that Muschietti shared like 2 years ago with the Batman suit with the Flash logo painted over it. Like, I love, and I love that they're using that in all the marketing. Like, that's the merchandise we bought.
Yeah, you're right. We don't get, I mean, it's in there because there are moments where the 2 Flashes are running together, and if you do the frame by frame, you get some glimpses of it in there. But there is a crazy shot that shows lightning striking through one Barry and into another Barry.
Mm-hmm.
And so my hunch is when he goes back to and meets his younger self doesn't have powers yet.
Mm-hmm.
And so he then takes him to when he got powers and shares them with him.
Yeah, I think it's kind of a spin on how Barry got his powers back in the Flashpoint comic. Like they had to get that jolt of electricity.
Yeah.
And Batman was the one who did it in Flashpoint. So I guess it's going to be Barry in lieu of Batman giving Barry his powers.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. And how good does the Flash ring look?
Oh, it's so good. That is
it's so good.
Such a nerdy thing, but it's such an awesome touch too.
Yeah, it is. Exactly. It's perfect. Like it looks exactly how you want it to. And even showing the outfit inside, like it looks great.
Mm-hmm.
And you're right. It's a nerdy thing, but great. We're nerds.
Exactly.
Awesome. I'm into it. I love it. Yeah, there's so much here. And then, getting into Supergirl, Joe, I'm a little disappointed in you that you didn't think about how Supergirl was essentially Flashpoint Superman.
I don't know why it didn't even occur to me.
It was kind of right there.
No sense whatsoever that didn't occur to me. Because in my head, I was thinking like all the speculation I think overtook my brain with it being Kal-El and is it Superman and Lois's daughter in the comics that everyone was assuming it was her?
That's what I thought. Again, I don't know that
from the look.
Yeah, I don't know that version.
Either do I.
Well enough. But that was a question that we had on the last episode or in the last two episodes where basically like, which Supergirl is this? I don't think they ever truly confirmed, and we all assumed it was this alternate reality Superman's daughter Supergirl. But we know it's Kara.
Yeah. But I still think I don't think it's Kara like, I mean, it could be Kara like we know Kara. I take it more as it's just a female version of Superman.
You know what the funny thing about that is? Because everybody in our circles thinks comics and accuracy and things like that. But I have a very good friend who texted me yesterday, and he's kind of excited just seeing Keaton back and stuff like that. He said, and he asked me, he said, is that Superman's sister? What? And I said, well, it's complicated, because technically it's Superman's cousin. I said, but she's supposed to be blonde, so there's all this hubbub. And he said, well, I mean, why would she be blonde? She looks like Henry Cavill's cousin in the trailer.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, okay, so the general audience is just going to go with it. So why are we worried about it?
Yeah. I mean, I'll be honest. I hope it's Kara Zor-El.
Mm-hmm.
I hope it is. Like, it makes it cleaner. There's no law that says Kara has to be blonde.
No.
I tend to prefer it if they look like they do in the comics, but like it's hair. But for like the clarity of the character, I hope it's Kara Zor-El. It seems like it's certainly possible. She introduces herself as Kara, because I hope that means that she is still in play for the Supergirl movie that's coming.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And she looks great in the suit, by the way.
Oh,
and in action, looks great.
Yeah, totally. She looks great. She's so excited. I'm so happy for her. And so, yeah, it's really, I think she'll deliver. I hope she delivers. And if she does, I want that option to be open for her to continue on in the universe because I think she's going to be great.
Completely agree. Oh, and speaking of nerdy little things, the very Cavill-esque sonic boom that goes around her when she takes off as she's flying beside the Batwing. Yep. Chef's kiss. Looked great.
Yep. Agreed. And just Supergirl flying alongside the Batwing is just amazing.
With two Flashes riding in the Batwing.
Yeah, with two Flashes and a Batman, two Flashes and a Batman and Supergirl. Like again, you end up with this team up. So based on what we're seeing here, it really does seem to me that like there's some shots early on where it's some flash action shots. And again, the effects on the speed looks really great. The lightning looks really great. The suit looks great. But My hunch is there's going to be like a big introductory action scene with Ben Affleck's Batman and the Flash together. And that's what then launches into this story and what Barry wants to do or what he can do. Which then causes him to break the timeline. And then he and Keaton Batman and his younger self team up to go free Supergirl. And then God knows what happens after that.
Yes, I think you're on the right track. The only thing I'm apprehensive about is what happens when they save the day. Like, as you know, his ultimate mission is to fix what he's broken. But I don't think everything's going to be fixed.
Yeah. Well, it can't be, right?
Yeah,
it can't be.
Obviously, it's not going to be fixed, or it would really throw off the what's coming in the future.
Yeah, we know shit's going to change.
Mm-hmm.
And just
the saddest part about that is
it's going to be a gut punch for Barry.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, and you know, and that's kind of, I think he's going to kind of be our window into this, because it's also going to be a gut punch for us, because I have a feeling, you know, when all is said and done at the end of this movie, we're going to realize, okay, this world has changed. Affleck's not here anymore, you know, yada, yada, yada. So, which will be a gut punch. But again, if we get that nice send off and farewell, it'll be worth it, I think.
Yeah. I mean, and that's what's going to be so interesting, is to see how much they're still going to tinker with this, especially the ending, to set up what's to come.
Mm-hmm.
Like, who knows how much they've already done? Because in the last round of reshoots, Gunn was around already. Are they still planning on doing more? Like, I'm so curious as to how vague they're going to leave it, or how much they're going to try and make it fit into what their future plans are.
Like, do you think they would introduce the new Batman at the end of this?
I don't think so.
Tough. It's too early.
It feels too early. Yeah.
Unless they already know who the director is going to be, that's a lot.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm curious. First of all, I have to say we're getting more Faora, because I'm so excited about that, and we haven't mentioned Faora. We've mentioned Zod, but I'm so excited to get more of Faora.
I agree. She's amazing.
Hey, can you imagine a fight between her and Supergirl?
Oh,
gotta be coming.
Girl, yes.
But I think the big question we all are gonna have is, one, how are they gonna send off Ben Affleck's Batman?
Mm-hmm.
Ben Affleck has said it's one of the best versions of this character. I think he felt like this is what he always wanted to do. This, I mean, who knows if he's saying that genuinely? I don't think he would have signed on if it wasn't something he was happy about. But he was really excited.
He had no reason to say yes to this.
Exactly.
Yep.
None.
So he did walk away. He walked away. And so he would only come back if he believed in it. And now, no, that's fine. Do we think they're going to find a way to get him, like, logistically, I don't know how it would work. Do you think we're finding a way to get him and Michael Keaton on screen at the same time?
I've wondered the same, because you're right. Like, you kind of want that,
but
I'm not counting on it.
Yeah. But also, how do we get a send off of Bruce Wayne if it's just he comes back from fixing everything and he's gone?
Yeah.
So
yeah.
They might be. It's a tough task. I mean, I have faith, because of everything we've been hearing around this film, that they're going to do it, because I find it hard to believe that they're just going to be like, the last conversation that Barry and Bruce have is, Barry, don't do it. And Barry goes and does it. And that's the last time we ever see Ben Affleck's Batman. I find that hard to believe.
I don't want you. Yeah, that will be unsatisfying.
Yeah. So I'm very curious how this is all going to play. And again, I don't want to know beforehand. This is why we want to go see the movie. I'm so sick of all these. I'm going to go on a rant here. I'm sorry. I'm so sick of all these damn scoopers and everything telling us every little bit of information.
I know.
I hope it's all wrong, because I can't take it anymore. It's like, oh, this cameo was cut. This cameo was gone. It's like, people, you're not helping anything by telling us the end of the freaking movie. We want to see the movie. And
Yeah.
also, another rant, I'm sorry. Pointing out that these people are idiots is just bringing more attention to them, and I'm seeing what they're reporting by you bringing it to my attention. So can we stop?
I completely agree with you. Like all of these scoops and rumors about cameos that may or may not have been shot, that may or may not have been cut, like all that shit, you're right, it pisses me off because the whole point is like let us go on the ride. And it's so easy for someone to go, well, then just, don't look. There's no way to not look if you're involved in this community unless you just swear off social media for a year or two, which isn't the worst idea in the world, but like at this point it is so widespread
It was
that like you
trending the other
can't
day.
you can't avoid it.
Yeah.
It is literally impossible to avoid it. And you're right, like it ruins so much of the fun. Because again, here's what they're showing us. I really hope that they're holding stuff back and we're gonna have some nice surprises when we sit down in the theater. But I'm afraid some of those are already spoiled.
And that's why I hope they don't show the new Batman, because we'll know beforehand. There's no way they'd be able to keep that a secret. And if they do, bravo.
Yeah. I will say this, just as we're chatting, I'm like, clicking around the trailer because of course I am. First of all, I don't know what's going on with the two flashes, with one with the yellow lightning, one with the blue, but it's visually stunning and I love that. And I can't wait to see what that's all about. But there's a very quick shot of Supergirl punching a Kryptonian. I thought it was Zod, but I happened to freeze it at just the right place. And it might be Feora.
Oh, nice.
Nice.
So look at it's 2 minutes, 11 seconds. And as you watch it in motion, it looks like she's punching Zod, but paused. I think it might be Feora.
So I have two quick questions for you guys then. Who is Kara carrying up in the sky? Is that Barry?
I wondered that too.
I think
is
it's
that Barry? I feel like they wouldn't have shown it if it wasn't Barry.
But it seems like she's trying to get that person to the sunlight.
I know. And I don't want to speculate because I feel like if someone zoomed in and saw who it was, we'd know already.
Yeah.
The other question is the long gray hair opening up the entrance to the Batcave. Is that Bruce?
Yeah. It certainly would appear to be because they've said that this Bruce is retired.
Mm-hmm.
It seems like he's probably a recluse. Man, people love making old Bruce a recluse, don't they?
Yeah. Never the long hair though. I've never seen that before.
Yeah, I've never seen the long hair, but like even there's the shots of like the old Bat cowl, like kind of
laying on the ground.
Yeah, laying on the ground and stuff. And so it seems like, he's completely just detached and everything, and he's given up. And so whatever Barry says causes him to come out of retirement, cut his hair, and put on the suit again.
Well, here's something too. I mean, because we know plans have changed. I think, there was a lot of rumblings about, post this movie, Keaton becoming kind of like the Nick Fury of this universe and, being an ongoing Bruce Wayne at the very least. That doesn't seem to be the plan anymore, especially since we're getting the Brave and the Bold. So this could be very well be a nice send off for Keaton's Batman as well.
Yeah.
So we could be pulling double duty with saying goodbye to Batman.
I know. It's crazy, but I mean, like at this point, I just got to be realistic. The man's 70 years old. If this is it, it's a gift that we got it.
You never would have gotten it otherwise.
It's true, but still, like you could be right. And they did ask James Gunn, and he said something about like, oh, we have options or something. It was something very vague of not a no, but also not a hard yes. So who knows?
Mm-hmm. And where's Robin?
I have heard that, and I'm like, I wouldn't imagine that Robin would be in the movie. It would be nice if Keaton acknowledged that he had a Robin.
Yeah.
Like, honestly, that's all I would expect. I wouldn't expect Robin to show up. I mean, it would be cool. I would love it, but that's something I never even thought was in the cards for this. But it would be nice if Batman acknowledged that at one point he had a Robin.
Well, he's going to be with the Clooney, cameo, Joe.
Right.
Now, it would be pretty cool if there was a Chris O'Donnell cameo. Do you think? Oh crap! What was I going? Oh, is this definitively the same Michael Keaton from '89 and Returns? We would assume so, correct?
He has both suits and the same car.
Okay.
And an upgraded version of the same plane and the same batarang.
But not connected to the Kilmer and the Clooney one, though. That's my point. Is like,
here's the thing. Like, and I have again, I've seen a
almost
little
like the
bit
Halloween
of this.
choose your own ending, right? Like,
it's like technically Kilmer and Clooney are quote unquote the same Batman. Technically,
yeah, exactly.
Well, officially, DC
but
Comics.
Barely.
Officially, DC Comics have separated those universes.
That is also true, but no. So, I don't think, as far as this goes, I don't think Forever and Batman and Robin are canon.
Mm-hmm.
No.
So I can never watch those movies again. They don't exist.
I mean,
because that's what that means.
That is what that means.
Erased completely.
You're right. Yeah. Someone from WB is on their way to your house right now.
Yep.
To make sure you don't own any copies.
I'm just going to have 2 empty slots in my 4 movie collection.
Yep.
Yeah. Actually, oh my shit, mine just burnt up. Holy crap. How did they do that?
My Man of Steel, the first 5 minutes have already disappeared.
They're really good. Real quick, the Batcave, the shot with the Batmobile, like, it is reminiscent of 89, but it is not, because it has this whole other wall that I do not remember in Batman 89. But the shot from behind Batman's cowl and you see the little balcony, that looks very much like the Batcave from Batman 89. So that's cool.
The Wayne Manor does not.
No, the Wayne Manor doesn't look like either of them.
No, so it's consistent with that, at least, that it's looked different each time.
Yeah. Well, because the Wayne Manor in Returns, as much as I love the Returns, the Wayne Manor Returns is just a model.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So it's probably closer to the one in 89, but you're right, it's not exact to either of them. Hold on, now I'm gonna look because I can't even quite picture.
Why do I feel like I've seen that this one is the same as some, like this? The one they use in this is like it's used somewhere else. This isn't the same one that they used. For like isn't there something to like they use the same one for Smallville? Lex's mansion is the same as like Oliver Queen.
That's the Arrow mansion.
Why do I feel like I read somewhere that this one is the same as something else too?
I'll tell you, it is not dissimilar from Batman 89. I don't know if it's exact, but it's pretty close.
Which I feel like it'd be easier just to build a model that would look like Returns.
That is also true. Just do it digitally. But
yeah.
Hold on, I'm gonna send you this right now so you guys can see. Gotta make me reopen Messenger, but it's fine. Anyway, talk amongst yourselves. So it's actually closer to 89 than my memory believed. So I'll give them credit for that. It's certainly not the Returns one, but that's
I'm looking at some pictures. Maybe it is the same.
It's closer than I thought, right? What else? Anything else in the trailer? I mean, there's tons of stuff in the trailer, so that's not fair. Anything else?
We could probably talk for hours.
Well, now we can just go beat by beat and just examine it.
I don't think there's a way to recap the excitement that I got from this trailer, honestly. I mean, we could beat this trailer up blow by blow, but it's my excitement level went through the roof with watching this.
I would agree. And I was already psyched, that was not an issue. I couldn't wait for this, and it delivered, and it's funny because I was like, oh, it's been a while since we've had one of these. And I'm like, actually, it really hasn't. You mentioned we just got a Shazam trailer and I loved it. We did a whole episode on it. I loved it.
It just feels different.
And yeah, you're right. That's exactly it. It feels different. We just got a Shazam trailer. I think it looks great. We spent all fall with Black Adam trailers. And yet this truly feels like an event. And I haven't felt that way since Justice League.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think.
Yeah, I'm trying to think. I mean, after Justice League was what, Aquaman? And then, I mean, not for nothing, COVID kind of ruined all the hype we had for every movie after that. Like, because we never knew when anything was coming out.
Yeah.
And that's the one thing I got to say here is I have to temper my expectations. The movie doesn't come out for another 4 months.
I mean, it's only 4 months. 4 months go by quick.
Oh, definitely. But the way this has been amped up, I feel like we're We're so close, and we still have Shazam prior to this, which is weird.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, it's crazy. But Shazam, don't get me wrong. I'm so excited for Shazam. Shazam looks great, and fun. But this does, it has that feel of a Justice League or an Avengers. It's that level of a movie.
It feels special.
At least from the trailer.
Yeah. Exactly. That's just it. It feels like so much bigger. It feels like such an event. And I'm feeling the levels of hype that I have not felt in years for a DC movie. And again, I've liked them all, so or most of them. I've liked most of them, but like, yes, there's just something about this that, oh my god, it looks great, and I can only imagine what else is hiding in the shadows.
Agreed.
So yeah, the hype train is real, and again, huge kudos to them for pulling this off and really getting people excited about this movie. And I think they did that, and my hat's off to them. And it's a great feeling to be excited about this, and it's a great feeling to see the excitement around this.
And I'm with you. I feel bad for my wallet moving forward.
I know, but it's also kind of fun. I think you guys know this. I have a ridiculous collection of coffee mugs, just out of control. Like at this point, it needs its own room. And so when I went on DC Shop and they had a Flash coffee mug, I'm like, do I really need yet another coffee mug? And I was like, yeah, of course I do. So it's on its way. Although I will tell you a very sad story. One of my BVS coffee mugs got broken, and I'm really sad about it.
Oh.
And it was the better one. I have two BVS mugs, and one is just the logo, and then the other one was like the cool key art of Batman, Superman, and Wonder Woman. And it was that one that broke. So the one with the logo is still fine, which is cool. I like it, but I liked the one with the artwork. So, and I tried to eBay it. I couldn't find it.
Oh,
so I'm real sad. But it's not like I can't spare a coffee mug because there's a lot. Yeah. Anyway, all right. I think I kind of gave my final thoughts. I'm psyched. I can't wait. It's the most hyped I've been for a DC movie in a long, long time. The trailer delivered. Good on them. The posters look good. I'll be counting down the days. So I'm all in on this. I think it looks amazing, and I can't wait. Eric, anything to add?
Yeah, like I said, I don't know that there's much I can add to what we've already said, other than, I like I said, the only apprehension I have is how I'm going to feel saying goodbye, because I feel like some of these characters I'm going to be saying goodbye to. But other than that, it looks amazing, and I'm over the moon excited for it.
Yep, absolutely. And what about you, Joe?
Yeah, it's going to be really sad saying goodbye to the characters and then coming home and realizing all of our movies are gone and all that stuff. So,
we're still doing this? We're still doing the bit?
Listen, okay. The trailer is going to get people there the opening night, and it's already gotten everyone hyped. I'm so excited for it, and as long as the movie is as good as what the trailer is delivering, this could be huge. And I love the trailer. I can't wait to see this movie, and I can't believe, again, we keep talking about, we still have Shazam. I can't believe we have another movie to hold us over before this one.
Yeah.
And a movie that I'm really excited for too, but it just doesn't feel the same. And that's nice. It's like a little appetizer before we get to the main course here. And it just feels like an event. I cannot wait to see this movie. And we're going to get another trailer prior to the movie, probably. We're going to be talking about this movie for the next 4 months. So, yeah, I'm going to be watching this trailer for the next 4 months.
Yeah, agreed. I love what you said. It feels like an event. And that is awesome. And the fact that, again, so many people in the general audience also now feel that way is awesome. And it's really exciting. So can't wait. But you're right. We'll continue talking about it. There will be more Flash goodness to come. I can't wait for my merch to show up. I don't think it's shipping for a few weeks, though. So I just have to be patient. But I'm excited. Stay tuned to the Holy BatCast Twitter, because I will share that coffee mug when the time comes. Don't you worry.
I think the mug is the only one that's a pre-order. I think.
Is that it? Okay, yeah. So we'll get the shirts to tide us over while I wait for the mug. Okay, that's fine. I can deal with that. But anyway, The Flash full trailer shorter Super Bowl spot with a couple extra shots in it. The Batmobile, the Flying Fox, the awesome vault with all the bat suits. The designer who did those, you all saw, he was tweeting today being like, oh, I can finally talk about doing this. And you could tell he was just so proud and so excited to be like adding to it and that he was able to do that. And like, what fun nods of those different bat suits, like that's so great. But yeah, the extra little bits that we got in the Super Bowl spot, what a nice bonus. So lots of good stuff. 4 posters. And again, I think they just teased us with the McFarlane Flash figure, and I'm sure there will be more to come. So lots of good stuff coming, and it feels good to be excited. So I'm glad you guys are psyched too. The Flash. I can't wait. I can't wait. All right. Well, guys, stay tuned to Holy BatCast. We'll be talking about it, but we're not going to say goodbye just yet because we have to check in with you fine feathered finks and crack open the Wayne Manor mailbox. It's time again for the Wayne Manor mailbox.
You've got mail.
Derek, what is a letter for me?
Maybe temporary.
She wrote a letter.
You're one hell of a messenger.
This is all, Master Wayne.
All right, help me clean out some of these emails, guys, because there are too darn many. As always. All right. First one's from my pal Mark Bickford. It says, hey, I listened to your special edition that covered the Slate announcement. I enjoyed everything that you had to say, and I agreed with almost everything. The one thing that pissed me off, though, was when Andy, unprovoked and with no justification, spontaneously maligned oatmeal raisin cookies. There's nothing wrong with oatmeal raisin. They aren't my favorite, but a nice soft oatmeal raisin cookie is heavenly. What's next? Are you going to start singing the praises of Orange Circus peanuts? Mark, I'll just stop you right there. Anytime someone gives me an oatmeal raisin cookie, I will mail it to you because they're trash. I want no part of them. So you go crazy. I don't want them. Ugh. All it does is it looks like a chocolate chip cookie. It's only there to fool you and make you eat raisins, which gross me out. But Orange Circus peanuts, no, I'm not into those either. Anyway, he says about the actual slate, I'm looking forward to it. I loved the DCEU, but it's over. Henry isn't coming back, and Ben doesn't want the job. And everything that Gunn said about Gal, Jason, and Ezra sounded about as firm and convincing as Ben's I'd be an ape on the ground for Matt Reeves. The one piece I'm most looking forward to is Supergirl Woman of Tomorrow. I don't know if any of you had a chance to read it yet, but if you haven't, forget about the DC Universe Infinite Ultra Cosmic Mega Majestic or whatever it is now. Go down to your comic shop and order the paperback. It's really a graphic novel, and it was only 8 issues because someone in charge at DC told Tom King that they couldn't sell 12 issues of Supergirl. The story is great, and the art and coloring are stunning. Jamie, you'll be happy to pass this one on to your kids. Andy and Brendan will eventually too, but right now Harley and Henry would just try to eat the pages. So questions. Have you read Woman of Tomorrow yet? Also, did you see Peter Safran's comments about Batgirl? If so, what did you think? It boils down to Safran saying a lot of talented people were involved, but the film was not releasable. It would not have been able to compete in the theatrical marketplace. It was built for the small screen. I'm sure a lot of people on social media are jumping on the not releasable comment. But my take is this. He's saying that releasing the film in theaters would have been a disaster. It was written, designed, and shot for TV, and there isn't really anything you could do in reshoots or post to turn it into a big screen epic. I'd still love to see it, but alas. Have a great week, and remember, Shazam is next month. Mark. Thanks, Mark. I hope you forgive me about the oatmeal raisin thing, but yeah. If those ever come at Christmas, I won't fight you for them. Questions. Woman of Tomorrow. I have not started it yet, but I am going to do DC Universe Infinite because it's right there, so I might as well. And I love the news that it's sold out everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
That's amazing. So I love that, but yeah, I haven't read it yet, but that's exciting. And I'll just say, as far as Peter Safran's comments about Batgirl, yes, so much was made about him saying it was not releasable. And I will say, that's probably not a good choice of words. I don't like those. I don't like that at all. But when he explained himself saying how it couldn't have competed in theaters because it was made for the small screen, then you understand what he was getting at. So not the best choice of words, but I kind of giving him the benefit of the doubt once he explained what he was saying. Eric, thoughts?
I did read Supergirl Woman of Tomorrow very
Great.
recently. I read it after the Slate announcement and when they kind of referenced the books, which we didn't mention this when we were talking about the trailer for The Flash, but one thing I will say, I love that they're referencing comics so much and giving people an outlet to read these kind of reference stories that they're going for their films. That's a great idea. Love it. Um, so I read this. I really, really liked it. I'm always a tiny bit apprehensive about Tom King after his Batman run, which I shouldn't be because I've loved everything else that he's written outside of Batman. And this was no different. I got a little apprehensive in issue 2 that it was going to be more of the same with his Batman run, but no. This is a really, really good book, and I'm very intrigued to see a film adaptation of that. And then what was the second question, Andy?
Was about Peter Safran saying that Batgirl
the
was not
Batgirl.
releasable. Yeah.
Yeah. So did see his comments. I do think it's more along the line of we want more out of our Batgirl movie than what was shot for TV and on a TV budget. Rather than it being a bad story or not a good film or anything like that, I think they caught Blue Beetle and switched it to theatrical fast enough where they could give it more of that pomp and circumstance of a big screen release. And I'm really hopeful that what he means by that is I hope they're honest about what they were saying before, and we still really want to work with these people, and hopefully we can get Leslie Grace and these creators back and make a Batgirl film.
Yeah. I would love that. She just did an interview though, and she said she has not spoken to them, but I want them to speak to her because I think she deserves another shot at it.
Mm-hmm.
Joe?
Well, yeah, I just finished Supergirl Woman of Tomorrow this morning, actually. And I really liked it as well. I think with as far as he was saying with the whole he was talked out of doing 12 issues and cut it down to 8. In my opinion, that's a good thing for Tom King because I think his stories can be a little too long sometimes, and I think he could get the point across a little easier. But I really enjoyed this story. I think even this story, I think could have been cut down a little bit, but I really enjoyed it. To Eric's point, I agree. I love that they're putting the comics, at the end of the trailer to show you what stories to read, and it's almost like the reverse of what they tried to do with DC Universe when it first started. Was they were going to try to do everything together on there, so when you would finish reading a book, it would say, hey, go watch this movie, or you'd finish a movie, hey, go read these books. It's they always tried to do these things, but they never really executed it well enough, where now hopefully they're doing that.
Mm-hmm.
And it's good for people to be able to find those stories. And as far as the Batgirl goes, yeah, I agree. I think his, context is a beautiful thing. You take the one thing he says and you run with it instead of actually reading on and listening to the rest of his conversation. And yeah, I think you're getting your shot to make the first Batgirl movie, and they made a tough decision to say, we want this in theaters, we want to do it the right way. And again, I still wanted to see the movie. I wanted to see what they did. But if what he's saying, I hope that it's because we're going to get a Batgirl movie and they're going to do it the right way. They're going to plan on it for being in the theater, make it an event because Batgirl deserves that. Again, I still don't think they should have, completely scrapped this one. But if that's the case, I'll give them the benefit of the doubt and hope that we're going to get that someday. We're going to get that Batgirl film that we deserve. And yeah, I hope Leslie Grace comes back. It'd be really hard. Like, could you imagine if they go to the directors and Leslie Grace and say, hey, we want you to do it again?
Yeah.
That's tough.
But not do it big. Yeah. And Safran did say in those same comments that the parts that nobody read, where he did say Batgirl is really important to us and it is a character who will be part of our story. So
yeah,
he did acknowledge that he wants Batgirl to be in the greater DCU, but yeah, I think on their terms. I just, like we all said, I just hope Leslie gets another shot at it.
Yeah.
Next message is from Adil. It says, hey guys, I hope you're doing well. After the monster announcement from James Gunn, I'm excited for the future of DC. However, there is one aspect of the announcement that I was worried about. Grant Morrison infamously made the decision to make Bruce and Talia fling to make the Bruce and Talia fling into a date rape story. I really hope that Gunn and Safran make choices to that one aspect and introduce Talia to the DCU and make her the main love interest for Batman. What do you think? Yours truly, Adil. Adil, I don't know. It's an interesting point. Joe, any thoughts on that?
So I do remember that being a thing with Grant Morrison. I don't remember the original. I haven't read the original story in years. I think it was Mike Barr did the original. It's been a long time when they first introduced the idea of the two of them getting together and possibly having a child. So I didn't know if that was a Grant Morrison thing or not. But I mean, this might be really a hot take, but I don't know. I kind of like Talia being that sick of a villain.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't want to encourage that kind of behavior, but she is a villain and she's sick. And I don't necessarily like the idea of Batman actually falling in love with Talia. I think it's more of a forbidden fruit type of thing. So I don't know. And I don't know. The Grant Morrison stuff, some of his stuff is really intriguing and really ambitious. And then some of the other stuff is just too much for me. But I think I would prefer this to actually be one that maybe they keep because I think it makes it a little bit more interesting. But yeah, I don't know if that's controversial for me to say that or not, but she is a villain.
Okay. No, I appreciate you taking the risky stance there. Eric, how do you feel about it?
I will say the reference to Grant Morrison is probably the most I cringed during the Slate announcement when they're kind of like going through all these comics and Grant Morrison was a big influence. I'm like, oh, because Grant just doesn't work a lot for me with Batman. I find some of his stuff really, really confusing. But then with Talia, I'm with Joe on this one. This is one of the Grant Morrison things that I really like that he did. Because again, I love it when Talia, she's always been into Bruce, but ultimately she is her father's daughter. And this whole thing was giving her father the perfect heir. And they both think that Bruce should have been that perfect heir. So they want Bruce's child. So I don't know. I like it. I dig it.
Yeah, I guess I've never given it any thought, but hearing your stance as well as Adil's, I could honestly see it going both ways, and I don't have a strong feeling one way or the other, because I do think that it could work that they're involved, they sleep together, they realize it's not going to work, Bruce goes off and never realizes that he's got a son. I think that is a perfectly good story. But yeah, at the same time, Roz and Talia conspiring to manipulate Bruce to create the heir, I don't hate that either. So I could go either way. Next message from Weston Craig. It says, hey guys, what are your thoughts on the soft reboot? James Gunn was quoted on Tuesday saying that not all actors would get recast. Some would carry over. So what are your thoughts? I'm still concerned. I worry that actors like Ezra Miller, Gal Gadot, and Jason Momoa are still strongly associated with movies like BVS, Justice League, and Wonder Woman 1984, some of which I enjoyed, but are part of the reason the general audience doesn't love DC right now. Talking with friends and family who are more casual viewers, they aren't even aware a reboot is happening. Even my friends who love movies on Tuesday, all they heard was news about Batman Part 2 having a release date. I'm excited for the new movie slate, but I wonder if the general audience sees the same actors that we've had over the past 6 years, they'll assume we're getting more of the same. I know that not all of the actors are confirmed, but at least some are. P.S. I'm glad that Ezra Miller is working on their recovery. I personally disliked them as The Flash and in Fantastic Beasts, so maybe I'm biased, but I do wish them the best. And I apologize if I'm being negative or bringing anybody down. Thanks, Weston. It will be interesting to see how soft the reboot turns out to be. Because they never confirmed anyone's coming back. At all. All they said was there's no reason that some of these actors couldn't continue to play the same roles. So I'm waiting to see how it all shakes out. Personally, I wouldn't mind keeping these actors because I'd like them all in the roles. But I do think it's a valid point where it's like, you start keeping some and it becomes a slippery slope. So you've got to be careful. But I think Ezra is the wild card for for all the reasons you know. But I don't think Gal and Jason would be liabilities because they prove that their solo movies can be incredibly successful regardless of any connection to lesser liked movies. So I'd be less worried about them. Yeah. Eric?
Yeah, I do. I completely understand Weston's question here. It's very fair. I mean, there is baggage with all of these characters, whether it's or these actors, whether it's their fault or not. And I do see where he's coming from. I think the Flash, which we just talked about, is going to give us a lot of direction by the end of it in where we may be headed. I don't think we'll truly know until this year's over with. I think there's a lot of speak nice going on because we have a lot of contingents from the existing universe that are still going on this year. So I think it's just time will tell. I could see more of a complete reboot, and maybe the characters or the actors that we have pop up in some of the Elseworld titles. So we'll just have to see, but I don't know. It's so hard to tell right now.
Yeah. Joe?
It's tough because I agree. I think Aquaman made $1 billion. The Wonder Woman films, the second one is a touchy subject because of the COVID situation and everything, but the first film was highly successful. I don't think they are beholden to the controversy of the Snyderverse as much as we might think, because they kind of overcame that with their solo films. The Flash is definitely the one that's iffy, and I would also say that I think everything comes down to the Flash film. If, let's say, the Flash, I think they're being vague on purpose, because let's say the Flash film flops completely. I think we're getting the hardest reboot you could possibly imagine.
Mm-hmm.
I don't see that happening. I think if the Flash is successful, we're going to get the planned soft reboot. If Aquaman is successful as much as the first one, we might get an Aquaman 3 and just keep going. And I don't think the Flash itself is going to even take a hard stance on whether Momoa is staying or not. I think they're kind of going to leave a lot of stuff in question there as well, because we still have Aquaman coming out. So if their stance is that Momoa's done after 2, are you really going to say that at the end of the Flash film when you have Aquaman coming out still? So I think they're going to still be somewhat vague. And we don't forget, we also have the Amanda Waller show that's supposed to come out. So we know some of those characters are continuing on. It's a tough question to answer, and I truly don't think we're going to have all the answers after the Flash. I think it's going to still be like a developing situation of who's staying and who's going, depending on the success of Aquaman 2, depending on what they choose to do with Wonder Woman as a character moving forward, because we don't know anything about Wonder Woman as a character in the reboot. Mm-hmm. And I think she's going to be an important play because Gunn said so.
Yeah, he was conspicuously quiet about Wonder Woman in the news slate.
Yes, He said someone said something about Wonder Woman's not included in Phase 1, and he said false. But he has not come out and said where she's being used in Phase 1 or whatever it's called, Chapter 1, or if it's going to be Godot or not. So, again, I think they're being vague on purpose to see how this year shakes out.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Agreed. All right. Next message is from my pal, Tim Rooney. Hey, Tim. It says, hey, Holy BatCasters. I wanted to ask a question. Since the quote-unquote Snyderverse is shutting down for the most part, I figured I'd propose a question or an episode topic for the future. What are your favorite DCEU moments? You could go by film or just a handful of scenes that stick out in your mind. For me, scenes that jump to mind are Perry White staying with Jenny in Man of Steel, Bloodsport saving Ratcatcher 2 from Peacemaker, but I think my favorite moment is when Aquaman reunited with his mother. That spoke to me on so many levels, and it made me wish for that moment in real life. Anyway, apologies for the long email. Take care and talk soon, Tim. Thanks, Tim. I love what you said about Aquaman reuniting with his mother. That's such a good scene. That I am going to file away for a future episode because I think that would be a really fun episode. Is to talk about favorite moments in the DCEU or the Snyderverse. So,
that would be an
awesome
awesome episode.
Yeah, I'll just say that. That's a great idea. I love it. So we're going to save it for an episode.
And I love Tim's choices. I love that they're so unexpected. Like,
yeah.
He went for the emotional moments, and I think those are 3 really great moments.
Yeah. Next message from Dave Chambers. It says, hey, it's been a minute. But now that we have a new DC slate, I have some thoughts. While I agree with you guys that I'm excited about the new chapter, I still wish a few of the older actors could still be a part of the journey, like Henry. That being said, I'm looking forward to seeing a new Superman. The title legacy has me worried if we will see Jonathan Kent play a role in this new journey since Damian is going to be the new Robin. Will they attempt a Super Sons? Andy, I agree with everything that you said about the choice for Damian as Robin. And Jamie, I'm in the same boat, cautiously optimistic. One thing that for me would make Brave and the Bold different than just being another Batman film would to make it a live-action TV show. By doing that, you could really flesh out the Bat family, and by doing this, you wouldn't have 2 competing Batman film franchises. Just my 2 cents. Thanks, guys. Dave Chambers. Thanks, Dave, and thanks for your thoughts. Appreciate it. Interesting. Do you think they're setting up a Super Sons, Joe?
I didn't until he said it, but it makes sense. It does make sense that they might think about doing that, and we know they kind of use the animated films as like testing the waters a little bit. I think that would have probably been in production prior to all these decisions being made, but I don't know. I like the idea of it getting there. I don't want to necessarily see it with the first Superman film we're getting, but I'd be open to it because I do like that dynamic. I think it would be really fun to see that in live action.
All right. Eric?
I think it would be very cool. I like the Super Sons. Love the recent animated movie. And I love Tomasi's run on the Super Sons. Damian and John together is great. I don't think that's where we're headed, though. For some reason, it just feels like I don't think they're going to put John Kent in this first Superman intro movie, even though they are doing it with Damian. And if he's not in there, then you've got to somehow work in a kid very similar in age to Damian at another point down the road. And how do you make that work logistically? I don't know. It seems like a stretch for me, but I would be happy to see it if they did.
They could do it with a Superman Returns sequel.
Oh, see, they could have done it. They could have done it back in 2006. Yeah, I agree. I agree with you, Eric. I don't think that's where they're going, especially because they were very clear on like, this is a 25-year-old Superman.
Mm-hmm.
So he certainly wouldn't have a 12 or 14-year-old kid yet. So maybe eventually down the line, but I don't think they're in any rush to do it.
Unless there's a time jump.
You could. I mean, there are always ways, but I guess my point is I don't think it's a priority.
I agree.
Next question's from the Objective Geek.
Oh no.
Buckle up, guys. It says, hey, Holy BatCast crew, I hope all is well. With a whole new DC slate announced, there's so much to discuss and so many questions. So with that said, hi, how you doing? Thanks, Chris.
Well, that's nice.
That is nice. That is nice. The episode where Jamie and Brendan aren't on.
I appreciate it.
So there you go. It makes it easier on us. But yeah, like the one time he goes easy on us, you guys get to benefit.
I'll take it. Sorry, okay. Jamie.
Well, I'm good. I mean, you guys haven't answered the question. I'm good. So
I'm great.
Doing well.
I'm really excited about some movies, and that's great. That's a good feeling. Mm-hmm. All right. Next message from Justin. It says, hey, Holy BatCast crew, a great assessment of the James Gunn announcement. I've heard that some comic runs are being bought up, and it makes me happy that this can generate excitement for comics. But that is the mission of DC Films, to introduce people to new characters. If films don't bring new characters to comics, then it's a big failure. We got more information than I thought we would, so thank you to James Gunn. That said, my excitement for the slate is tepid. I'm looking forward to Batman, Superman, Lantern, and Wonder Woman, and Swamp Thing, but everything else is sort of a wait for the trailer type of feeling. I hate that this is how I feel about half of the slate. I wish Damian wasn't the first Robin. I hope Grayson already was Robin. During the Superman film, no matter what the timestamp is, if there's a dick joke, I'm walking out of the movie. I just don't have faith that Gunn can restrain himself. I still wish that they did a complete new universe. Being 1 foot in and 1 foot out still causes confusion, unless they're waiting for Aquaman 2 to make more announcements, which could be likely. Biggest question, if Superman doesn't get to 800 million, or if the Authority bombs, if HBO Max analytics are low, if people are getting confused with two Batmen, does Zaslav start interfering? Will the Gunverse get derailed? Can't wait for your inevitable fan cast episodes. Thanks for your time, Justin. Thanks, Justin. Inevitable fan cast episodes, maybe. I don't know. Like I said I think it was the last episode, it's so much homework and it's hard. Maybe. So thank you for your thoughts. I understand like 50% of the slate not being an immediate like, holy crap, I can't wait. But I feel like the slate's kind of designed that way, right? It's kind of 50% heavy hitters and 50% more random. And I think that's what they're going for. So I understand where you're coming from. I get it. But if the first couple don't work, do you think that Zaslav starts interfering? It's an interesting question. I don't have the answer. Joe, do you have the answer?
No, I hope not, because we've been down that road many times before, and yeah, I don't have an answer. I just hope that we don't even have to worry about it.
That would be nice, but
yeah.
What about you, Eric? What do you think?
I think we're in a completely different landscape and a completely different leadership than we were before. We have a DC Studios now, so it's a little different, regime and structure. And I would point to this past year, we had a Batman movie that did not make $800 million, and it was considered a success. So I don't think it's going to be the knee-jerk reaction of, it didn't make $1 billion, let's change everything. At least I don't think it will be, and I hope it won't be. I hope with this new leadership, we get some restraint on budgets a little bit, and we get some tempered expectations on return until we get this universe rolling.
Yeah. Well said, Eric. I agree. Yeah, they have to budget accordingly. But I think that the new slate would have to truly like face plant for them not to stick it out at least for a while. So I'm hopeful. It seems like they are, they have right now autonomy, and I think that's the only way to work. But you've also got to manage your expectations and just not expect right out the gate that everything's going to be a super smash, and just adjust accordingly.
If you make the people love the movies, the money will come.
Yeah. All right. The next is from our friend Aaron Cajanto, who was on the show a few episodes ago. When was it? Oh, it was Black Adam. I think he joined us. He says, "Good day, legends. What is your take on the slate announcements? With what has occurred with the Snyderverse and the Monsterverse over at Universal, is announcing a slate too premature? If so, this is kind of what we just talked about. If Superman flops, are we back to square one again? The MCU has deserved the right to slate drop." Also, I agree with Andy in regards to Damian. It would be nice to see Dick, Jason, and Tim on screen first. Also, I don't get the Jason hate. There have been some fantastic writers who've developed his character and relationship with Bruce. Some writers have gone so far as changing his demise within the Bat family from death to torture, which still has the same effect on Bruce. He may not have been a good Robin, but I say he's been the most influential Robin in regards to Batman's growth. Anyway, stay beautiful, everyone. Aaron. Thanks, Aaron. Good to hear from you. And I guess I feel like we kind of just addressed it. Like, announcing an entire slate, is there a risk? Yes, there absolutely is. But like, I mean, the points you make about Snyderverse and Monsterverse, like, what's the worst that could happen? Like, it all goes belly up. Like, been there before. So, I think that it is a risk worth taking, especially as they are rebuilding the DC brand. I totally support them on that. Eric, thoughts?
Yeah, completely agree. And I think it's kind of an expectation now to get your slate. And people have been, people for better or worse have been saying for years that DC needs a plan. And that's what they've given you. You've got a plan. So
that's exactly it. DC doesn't have a plan. They don't have a plan. Well, they're now coming straight out and going, we have a plan, and this is what it is.
mhm.
So I think it's worth it for that. Sorry, Joe.
No, and I think people have been demanding that we know the plan too, which is kind of like they almost have to give it to us. It's like we don't trust them to have the plan without telling us. And
Yeah.
I think with them releasing the slate, yeah, it's kind of uncharted territory to like Marvel waited till they got success to start releasing the slate. I think this is a way of just showing confidence, even if it is completely false confidence. It's just they're trying to show confidence. They're trying to say we have a plan and we're confident enough where we're going to tell you everything because we're going to stick to the plan. And
Yeah.
that's what they're doing. And hopefully that's what comes to fruition.
Yep. Agreed. And then as for the Robin stuff, yeah, I mean, I said my piece on that episode. I don't hate Jason. I just like him better dead. I'm one of those people, but I will concede that even though he's back, there have been some great stories with him since he's been back. Absolutely. But yeah, in my continuity, in my perfect continuity, he would have stayed dead. But
I also
that's
agree that
just me.
he's been vitally important to Batman's growth as a character. I
Oh,
agree with that as well.
Absolutely. All right, next one's from Mark Jurasevic. It says, "Hey, Batcasters, the upcoming DC slate is exciting to say the least. Andy, I had the same idea for you as a Warworld story for Superman. Based on James Gunn's description, it doesn't look like this will happen, at least at first. However, in the recent Warworld story arc, Warworld, it's kind of a little bit of a tongue twister. In the recent Warworld story arc, Superman enlisted the Authority to help him battle Mongol on Warworld because the Justice League wouldn't. Maybe they'll team up together for a similar reason. It was an excellent read that has a strong heroic fantasy element and in many ways is reminiscent of John Carter of Mars and would make an excellent HBO miniseries. Anyway, I think a team-up event culminating in a battle against Mongol on his planet that also includes the Lanterns would be a great way to complete the first phase and save Darkseid or the Anti-Monitor for later. Also, the Green Lantern arc from 2005 by Jeff Johns and Carlos Pacheco is in which the Manhunters arrive on Earth to take over the sector may be the inspiration for the HBO series. Just a hunch. Cheers and take it easy, guys. Thanks, Mark. So no questions, but some interesting info on Superman teaming up with the Authority. I didn't know that happened. That's interesting. And then now that you mention it, I remember that Green Lantern arc with the Manhunters arriving. That was really cool, and it didn't cross my mind. But good catch. Good thought.
I'm building a list for reading this year, so that's helpful. Appreciate it.
Okay, good. All right. So many questions. It just raises so many questions. Okay. Next message is from Tony Hull. Hey guys, I want to provide you with a fun question. You, completely hypothetically, of course, work in theme park design, and the company you work for all of a sudden has acquired the theme park rights to the DC characters. You're put in charge of developing a brand new theme park or parks using these characters, and you have an unlimited budget and no size constraints. What kind of park or parks are you going to create? And what would be some of the must-see attractions? Would Batman get his own park or just a section of the overall DC park? I thought some sort of Batmobile ride, but each vehicle could be a different Batmobile, like Burton, Forever, the Tumbler, etc. So part of the fun would be seeing which Batmobile you get. I'm picturing Jamie waiting in line for 2 hours only to end up in the Matt Reeves Batmobile. Also, a nightly Joker... a nightly Joker parade would be awesome, minus the gas. Anyway, thanks for providing hours of great DC Batman discussion. I hope you continue for a long time. Thanks, Tony Hull. Thanks, Tony. Tony. This is too close to home, my friend. I love it.
Would be an episode.
I love it, and it could and should be an episode. But y'all know what I do for a living. And so I always have to tread lightly on theme park discussion and news, even though this is hypothetical, anyway, Eric, Joe, what do you think? Let's say you were allowed to make a DC theme park or something. What would you do, Joe?
Man, I would have a lot of fun with this. I would do different DC cities as the sections. Like I'm picturing like Great Adventure, like because that's what I have. So like you would have a metropolis, you would have a Gotham City, you would have a Central City, you would have a Coast City, and each individual character would have the themes within those parks. And to go with the Christmas theme, you just take all of that and you do a cold villain theme for Christmas time. And you do Captain Cold, you do Mr. Freeze, you do Killer Frost, make a whole villains theme for Christmas time and do a snowscape on everything, and you could have a lot of fun with all that stuff. As far as the attractions go, man, I would love like a go-kart thing or some type of thing with the Batmobiles like that, or a racetrack. That would be really fun. Man, as far as the rides themselves, I have no idea. That is not my department, but shows and stuff. I mean, the Batman stunt show is a perfect starting point from Great Adventure. That was a blast back in the day. Just have the characters walking around and interacting. I'm thinking of like how Star Wars does it at Disney, where they, the stormtroopers will come in and harass the kids and stuff. That's a lot of fun. You could do stuff like that with villains and just thugs walking around. You could do a lot of fun stuff with that. And I wish that Great Adventure went more like all out with that kind of stuff, because it's more of just an amusement park than a theme park. But that's a fun idea to even think about, because I would love something like that.
All right, Eric, thoughts?
Yeah. So my main thought is, because I'm more of a specific ride than a land or anything like that. One of my favorite rides ever, since I was a kid, was the Amazing Spider-Man Dark Ride at Universal Studios. I don't even know if it's there anymore. You could be able to tell me if it is.
It is still there, and I will tell you, as someone who works in the industry, I think the Amazing Adventures of Spider-Man is one of the greatest theme park attractions ever built.
Well, yeah, I completely agree. And when we went to Universal Studios for the first time as a kid, and I know it's been revamped since then, but it was amazing. And it's probably the ride that I rode the most that weekend. Begged my mom to ride it over and over and over again. So I have always thought I would love a dark ride in the vein of that, but you're in a Batmobile going through Gotham City. You've got the 3D glasses, the Batmobile just gets twisted and turned every which way, and you're just riding with Batman fighting all these villains in Gotham City. I think would be amazing. But yeah, that's I've always thought about that since I rode that ride.
Yeah. I mean, like I said, I don't know. I never know how deep I should go, since I literally work in the business. But I don't know. I think it's safe to say it would be a whole park. It would be a DC park. And to your point, Joe, one land is Gotham City, one land is Metropolis, one land is Atlantis, one land is Themyscira.
Oh, I didn't even do Atlantis. That would be amazing.
So, and then I don't know the
park section.
Yeah, and then I don't know what the fifth land would be. I'd have to think about it. But yeah, I mean, like, there are so many. Oa, maybe maybe that'd be the last land. Oa. There is so much great world building, so many great places, so many great characters that, yes, you could easily fill an entire theme park with nothing but DC IP. And it would be a dream for me to do that someday. And it came up recently on an episode of it is frustrating that Six Flags has the license, and Six Flags does what they can with it. But again, their business is roller coasters. And so they do have some theming around DC, but it's not the same sort of immersive theme park the way Universal Studios or Disney are. And it would be great to get something to that level, especially on this continent, because there is something in Abu Dhabi, but not many of us go there much. So it'd be nice to have one here, and I hope someday that happens. But oh yeah, man, like I could spend 3 hours creating a DC theme park, and it would be the most fun thing in the world. And maybe someday, to your point, Joe, it can be an episode, because I would love to do it. I get a little leery because of what I do for a living. That like I'm like, oh, am I treading too close? Am I saying something I shouldn't say? I don't know. I get nervous like that, which is probably stupid, but I just do. Like, there are all these lawyers that get involved with shit, and I never know what I can and can't say. And so, I mean, even though it's hypothetical, it would be amazing. And and there would be so much cool stuff we could do. But yeah, I guess I'll leave it at that for now.
Better safe than sorry.
Yeah. But man, it would be fun. All right. Well, we're at about 2 hours, so I'm gonna call it there. I still have got some emails left. We didn't even get to the ones about the Flash trailer.
Oh yeah. Well,
That's
that'll give Jamie and Brendan a chance to talk about it.
Yeah, that's a way to look at it. We'll do that. So yeah, I'm gonna close the mailbox. There's still quite a few messages in here. We will get around to them hopefully next time. Although I will say this: next time, Brendan and Jamie aren't gonna be on either.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, because guess what I'm doing next time? It would actually be what I am doing today, or maybe yesterday. I would have done it this week if not for the Flash trailer. The next episode is a Valentine's Day special.
Oh.
And so I'm going to be reviewing the Harley Quinn Valentine special with my very own wife. That's the plan for next week.
Well, that's just
So
precious.
So she's going to help me answer some of these emails. Yeah, that's the plan. So if you have not watched the Harley Quinn Very Problematic Valentine special, watch it. It's available now on HBO Max. It is something. That's all I'll say. It's something.
A family affair.
It is. Please
Yeah.
watch it with the whole family, grandma and grandpa especially. They're going to love it. But watch it. It's out there. It's like 45 minutes. And because on the next episode, yeah, Catherine is going to join me to talk about Harley Quinn's Valentine's special. So yeah, it's going to be a little romantic affair for Valentine's Day. A week late, but that's fine. Close enough. So yeah, looking forward to that. So I thought I'd throw it out there so people know what their homework is for next week. But we're going to close the mailbox. We'll get to the rest of these messages then. Then who knows what will happen later. But thank you guys for writing in. Thank you for sharing your thoughts and questions and all that good stuff. It is always great to hear from you guys. If you've got something for the Wayne Manor mailbox for next time, you can send that to Holy BatCast at rf4rm.com. But that is where we're going to close it. We're going to wrap this thing up, and off we go. So, gentlemen, always a pleasure. It was nice talking the Flash, sharing the excitement, sharing the hype. And then I appreciate the backup on the Wayne Manor mailbox. So, Eric, always good to have you. Tell our friends where they can find you.
Yeah, thank you again for the invitation. And we're always happy to help out whenever, scheduling doesn't line up with the regular guys, because God knows in podcasting, schedules do not line up. But we're glad to help. And if you'd like to find us, we have Joe and myself. We have our own podcast, The Fire Rises, a Batman podcast. You can find that anywhere you get your podcasts. And we're on social media at TFR BatPod. And for myself, you can find my personal accounts on Instagram and Twitter and Letterboxd at mecarter89.
Awesome. Thank you. And thank you as well, Joe.
Oh, thank you. It's always fun to come on here and talk with you and talk about this stuff. The big events like this trailer was just a lot of fun. So thank you. You guys can find me on Twitter, Instagram, and Letterboxd as jforn11, and on Facebook as Joe Fornarotto, Fornarotto.
Awesome. So yeah, guys, give Joe and Eric a follow. Go check out The Fire Rises after you listen to Holy BatCast. That's the only thing I ask. But thank you so much for joining it. And really, truly, it's always great having you guys on. It's great to have you all and chat about this stuff. So I certainly appreciate it. And everybody out there listening, thank you. Thanks for joining us. Thanks for downloading or streaming the show. Please do subscribe or follow the show wherever you get your podcasts. And please rate and review us wherever you get your podcasts. If let's say you don't want to be a patron, that's okay. I'm not mad at you. Maybe you don't need any beard trimming products. Fair enough. But something that you can do to be supportive, takes a minute out of your day, and it costs not a dime, is to rate and review us. Go give us a little 5-star, a little big thumbs up, or whatever it is you give. Help us out, because the more ratings we get, the more people will find us, and that would be greatly appreciated. Go to holybatcast.com or find us again on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, or YouTube. It's Holy BatCast everywhere. That's all you got to search for. If you got something for the Wayne Manor mailbox, again, that email is holybatcast at rf4rm.com. Our theme music was created by the very talented Gaurav Venkateswar. You can find his work at gvtunes.com. And don't forget to check out our sponsors over at Manscaped. Go to manscaped.com. Use that promo code BATSCAPED for 20% off and free shipping. But that'll do it. Thanks so much for joining us. On behalf of Eric and Joe, I've been Andy. We'll see you next time. Same Flash time, same Flash channel. Holy BatCast is not affiliated with Warner Brothers or DC Entertainment. The views and opinions shared by the participants are theirs and theirs alone and do not represent the companies or organizations they happen to work for.
Want some help?
You are?
Yeah. I'm Batman.
Pow! I'll make it about the Flash. Damn right I will. Here we go. Just dropping it in here for you. Come on. No? Oh, it's one of those stupid things where they save image.
This is great for an audio platform.
It is. It is. People love hearing me Google image search. It's one of their favorite things about Holy BatCast, really. Anyway, so guys,
net worth for the first one.
Google it on your own, but it's fabulous. So anyway,